News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here with you until the top of the hour. Got a packed show. Great people with you. Let's get into it. Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices, joining us. You can reach Chuck, who does a great job with closings and a whole lot more, at 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Services. They're the number one home team inspection service in the country. Is it 6 years in a row?
6+, yes, sir.
Plus. You can reach Brad and the team at 844-411-TEAM. Also back, my son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. Yeah. And you can reach me anytime on my cell phone. We are looking for homes to list and sell because we keep selling them. And we have 10-plus buyer agents ready to help you find a home at 376-5483. That is 376-5483. I cannot tell you guys that this past couple of weeks, as I go to listing appointments and pre-list appointments, how many people tell me that they listen to our show. And we thank all of them and all of you who are listening. We appreciate that. That's why we do it, to help you. This is just a little tidbit, and then we're going to get into some questions. Tidbit of information I wanted you to hear about, folks. Home prices in the Seattle metro area. Yeah, Bob, I know that we don't live in Seattle. But this is Louisville. But listen, and Southern Indiana, Seattle, they're expected to rise 18% over the next year. That's according to a new study by a group called Porch. Apparently, over the past 18 months, home prices across the nation have shot up to levels unseen since the buildup to the 2008 financial crisis.
Porch smorch.
Well, no, this is Seattle, so we should be thankful.
Well, the good thing
here in Louisville.
Yeah, we've always been semi-insulated in a good way. So when it's good, it's not a crazy bubble burst for Louisville. And when it's bad, it's not a terrible bubble burst.
Very true. This goes on to say, from Zillow, Redfin, Census Bureau, and these researchers at Porsche, they're calculating that home prices in this coming year, 2022, nationally, now not locally, but nationally, they're expecting to rise by more than 37% over this year.
You're over what? Huh?
I am holding in my hand the paper that I printed.
That's why, good thing your background blurs it, because we go back to Porch Smorch. In Louisville, Kentucky, we are not.
We're not going to see it, but that's rise. Locally.
I was going to say, I've got some comic books back at home that I can go grab up.
It sounds like the NTF crypto craze. Yeah. Show me a 30% investment I can put in.
I'm just telling you what it says. Listen, I'm reading it. Yep, and attributing it.
We'll see.
Just FYI, if you would like to see a replay of this show, you can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. It's a redirect to our YouTube channel where we record our show on Zoom for rebroadcast. By the way, we should tell you, because we're in a Zoom mode and because of COVID, we take your calls these days via email. And the way to do that, send me an email. It's bob@WeSellLouisville.com, and then put in the subject line radio question, and then put in that in the actual body of the email the question, and I'll get it on the air, just like I'm about to do with this one. And this one, Brad, is from Jeff, who is about to sell his home but has what looks like black mold in the ceiling below a roof valley. So he's got the valley, and inside the home, I guess there's an attic of some sort, but below it, black moldy. Outside, Jeff says he thinks there was an ice dam last year. Maintenance guy says that he can put black tar in the attic to prevent the leak and water from leaking. And now, Chuck, you're going to be on this in a second. Will that solve it, Brad, from your expertise?
So I don't think that is the proper way to make that roof repair. Mm-hmm. I think you're covering up some evidence of possible moisture intrusion and mold there. So I do not think that putting any material on the inside of the attic is a good idea. That's going to get called out on an inspection report. I would rather that he talks to another roofer about actually making the proper repairs in the valley itself, because he may have to end up putting a membrane in there if indeed he did have an ice dam that caused that.
And that was his next question. Who should he call to fix it? So it sounds like it should be somebody in the way of a roofer.
A competent
works.
roofer who's not suggesting a Flex Seal type repair in the attic.
And now this is where, Chuck, you're getting involved in this. He asks, can a buyer sue him if it's not corrected properly?
Did he disclose it first off? If certainly a buyer can take a property subject to crappy repairs. Okay. People do that all the time. They fix it up, they flip it. But if it is hidden and it's a repair that is substandard, then yeah, probably. Come out and say, hey, there was this problem. This is how I fixed it. Let the guy decide on his own whether he wants to take it. But anytime you're covering something up or hiding it or,
But Chuck, you can build a boat with Flex Seal.
Yeah, so I've seen.
Yeah, well,
I've seen.
And you can get the clear Flex Seal too if you don't need it.
All right.
Or the tape.
Yeah.
So Jeff,
it's on the commercial.
It sounds like Chuck says yes, you can be sued if it's done incorrectly.
Yeah.
And then Brad is saying get a roofer who is a qualified roofer to fix it. Put his name on the repair. And then am I right, gentlemen, that if something should go wrong at that point, then
but what if the next commercial is Phil Swift on a roof completely made of Flex Seal tape?
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Greg, I will check my contractor list of approved contractors. I don't think he's on that list. So
he's on there.
Yeah, I don't think so. They can call my office for the real list, though, of roofers that could make those repairs.
By the way, we're just trying to have some fun on Sunday morning.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, well, just a thank you to all of our past clients who turned out, speaking of fun, turned out a week ago for our client appreciation night down at Slugger Field Stadium. Yep.
Bats game. We've been doing the soccer game and they've been fun and the new stadium is great. Check out a game. But, for a family fun event, walking around the ballpark and the casualness of a baseball game, I missed it. It's been a while.
But Greg, by the way, Greg, my shoulder still hurts though from throwing those T-shirts though.
Our professional T-shirt cannon.
Yeah,
my arm still hurts from throwing out that first ball, which was a disaster. So a couple of things. But in addition to thank you to our clients, it was client appreciation night for us. Greg's wife Casey did a phenomenal job organizing that and putting it together. So kudos to her. And then we're putting a video together that should be out in a couple of weeks. I'll have it on Facebook. I'll send it out if you want to see. It has a very good shot that Greg shot of me throwing out that first pitch, which was embarrassing.
Better than Gary Delabate. I told you. All you got to do is keep it straight. Yeah. And you did.
I did.
It bounced. You know what? In the moment, it maybe felt worse, but it was. I mean, you almost
wasn't bad.
It was late.
It was respectable going straight down the middle.
I told him to walking up. I said, float it. Don't try to throw it too hard. He tried to
easier said than done. All right, we go back to the questions. Chuck, this one is for you, and this is a true life story. Brad, listen and Greg, listen on this. I've changed the names on this to protect these folks. Randy and Bettina have lived in their home, and I sent Chuck a copy of this ahead of time. Hopefully you had a chance to review this. They lived in their home for more than 30 years. They wanted to explore making a move, and they were looking on the MLS, the multiple listing service, and a house popped up. And so they called a friend of theirs who's a real estate agent to go out and see it. And they fell in love with the house, but they were very thorough thinkers, and they figured they would talk about it before making an offer. A couple of days go by. The friend who's the agent calls them and says, hey, he just heard through the grapevine that the listing agent is saying another offer is coming in. And as a result, Randy and Bettina better make up their mind quickly if they want the house. Well, they decided to make a strong offer that waived appraisal and inspections. They're paying cash on top of all that, so that didn't have to worry about appraisal. And the sales price apparently was extremely high. And after a couple of days went by, they realized that they jumped too quickly. And now they're stuck with buying a house that they really don't know if they want. They love to get out of the contract, but their agent contacted another local attorney, Chuck, not you, who told them if they defaulted on the contract, they would be in for a heaping dose of hurt. So now what should they do? Chuck, your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously, I can't give specific legal advice to these people, but in such a situation, they are in for a dose of hurt. If they don't have any contingencies on this contract, it's cash, no appraisal, no inspections. They're kind of stuck. I see this with a different twist on a fairly regular basis. We'll get to that in a minute.
Right.
But if they bid on the house and they walk away, the seller can come after, will sell the house at some point. And if there's a difference between the price, you say they paid a lot of money for it. So maybe they went over value if they did, and then they sell it arm's length transaction to someone else. They could be sued for the difference between what it actually sells for and what their contract was. In addition, now you've got some realtors who had a commission coming to them that they don't have now. So the realtors could get involved and go after them for that. It's a problem. What I've suggested in the past is go to, if it's fairly, soon on, go to the seller and say, hey, what can I do to get out of this? Come up with a number and then get out of it that way. Now, I don't know that will satisfy the realtors, but usually that's worked into that.
Question, Chuck. Yeah. And I know from an ethical standpoint, there's a difference, but from a legal standpoint, does that agent who called and the key point in the story, putting the pressure, so to speak, say, do they need to show any tangible proof? Is there anything to say, listen, we were coerced into making a move based off of this phone call? And I can go another way. That's the legal question. And then the other part of it is, and we always go to this, is if you are the buyer, and sorry to compound this, and you just back out and say, we're not doing it. And now you want to spend time, money, and effort and play the game of who wants to, the ball game, so to speak, and say, who wants to blink first, and say, are they going to come after me for that money and spend the legal fees? Or are they just going to put the home back on the market and then maybe go after damages down the road? Sorry.
Well, they would have to put it back in the market because they don't have damages until they don't sell until they sell it to someone else, and then you can determine the dollar.
Right. Do you want to hire the attorney to prove that you lost a couple $1,000s over?
That's where what I've run into isn't the case. Now, I've litigated this a couple of times in the past where $20,000-$30,000 is what we're talking about.
Sure.
And in today's market. Yeah, if you come in and you say, okay, I'm going to give you $10,000 over asking price, now you've already set yourself a base because the next guy that comes in and takes asking price.
But Chuck, don't you see? It was supposed to be a multiple offer situation with another offer coming in that could have been just as good. So,
all right. Yeah. So let me jump in. All right.
Yeah.
I let this go, but now, go ahead.
There's another angle that he asked about. Is the realtor who coerced him?
Yeah. Theoretically,
I didn't hear coercion here. What I heard was a realtor saying, "Hey, I heard there's another offer coming."
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's if these people who have money to pay cash, we're not dealing with unsophisticated people here,
right?
Unless he inherited the money, got it the old-fashioned way.
Yep.
Then we're not dealing with unsophisticated. And you made a point to mention a couple of times that they think these things through, and then all of a sudden they didn't. I mean,
all right. So let me jump here. Now, the reason I brought this issue up because I think it's a very good example for every one of our listeners and friends and family of our listeners to understand that when you waive contingencies like appraisal, like inspections, that you run into a potential problem like this, especially if there's a buyer's remorse a couple of days after. You don't have an inspection to fall back on.
And Bob, that's just the point. And Chuck said it. In this market, in this hot market, when that agent says the words, now, is it maybe we heard there's another offer in, or
hold on.
We have another offer coming in?
You all missed the suggestion. I immediately told Randy and Bettina. So let me tell you what my suggestion was. You ready? And it's right here in front of your face. And I don't know what happened, but I'll follow up on this. So I said to Randy and Bettina, call your agent. Have him or her call the other agent, the listing agent, and find out if that was a legitimate other offer coming in. And if so, have your listing agent, the listing agent on this, call the first potential buyer and see if they're still interested in the house and see if you can assign the contract to them. And maybe you pay a little difference if there's a difference in what the offer would have been, but it's a lot cheaper.
A little hybrid model of Chuck's go and see, go talk to the seller,
go talk to him, see if you can work that other.
So
that makes sense. But in this particular case, if you start going and looking for blame, like Greg is suggesting, that doesn't fly. That's TV law.
But I wanted all of you to hear that this happens. And that's why we always talk about inspection, appraisal.
The big twist on this that I mentioned, that I've run into at least 3 times within the last 6 months or so. These people are going to put up cash. They have to withdraw it from a particular account that they've got it in, like their whatever account with their stock guy. And they find out that there is a serious tax disadvantage to doing so. So that
Bob and I were just talking about this earlier today.
Yeah. So I just talked with my accountant about this past week. You're absolutely right. You gotta find out what you bought it for. The difference is about 30%. You're paying to Uncle Sam. Yeah, got it.
Good. Exactly. Why would you do that?
Yeah. All right, so let us move on, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got a variety of things, more questions for you. Also, we have an interesting story that will probably help you save some money on selling your house. If you want to see what people are saying about us, go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com or LouisvilleZillow.com. Here with us on the air, we've got Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service at 844-411-TEAM. And my son, Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. And you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, anytime at 376-5483. We are back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. All right, Lee is coming on. I'm just going to have her sit in the background while we're finishing up this show. I just want to make sure she comes on without going on. Okay, so let's go back on. We can always jump. And then that's that one. That's that one. Look, here we are. All right, here we go. I don't think we did this. Bad habits that can burn down your house. We didn't. Okay. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, with you till the top of the hour. Still with us, thankfully, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices at 499-6360. Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Services. They come in as a team, and you can reach Brad and his team at 844-411-TEAM. My son, Greg, who does our photography and marketing and so much more. And you can reach me, Bob Sokoler, to come out there, get your home on the market at 376-5483. And you can also use that number to go ahead and get us to bring buyer's agents to you to help you find a house. My thanks to Barbara Corcoran, who does a great job with Shark Tank and is a mentor and a friend, and I really appreciate what she says about us. Update now, bad habits that could burn down your house, Brad. I think you'll find this of importance. So some dangerous scenarios. There are a variety of things that could, if you leave unchecked, could burn down your house. A note, one of my circuit breakers was tripping, couldn't get it to flip on. This is a true story this past weekend. And so I started a search on that line to try to figure out what the problem was. It was an outside line. I went to where I have lights in a tree, climbed the tree a little bit on a ladder, and noticed that apparently squirrels had eaten into an extension cord line that went to some lights that I have hanging and frayed it. So that was where the short was. I was surprised, Brad, that the circuit breaker popped, but I had a GFCI breaker in line and that didn't pop. So that was kind of
because it's the GFCI would activate if there was water detected. So
but not
different. Since the squirrel wasn't, unless it was raining at the time the squirrel was chewing on, I don't know if the GFCI would have popped.
Interesting. All right. So, and I'm sure that squirrel got a mouthful. All right. Some things to be concerned about: misusing electrical blankets. And guys, feel free to jump in at any time. So, misusing electrical blankets, neglecting appliance recalls. You may or may not think about that. Go online, do a search on your appliance and see if there are any recalls on it. Something that Brad has talked about a regular basis, lingering dryer lint.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I saw a company you can actually hire people to come out and they clean their. Are they expensive?
I don't think they're very expensive.
No,
Some of them, the duct cleaning people will also do it. But there's people that's all they do is dryer vent cleaning.
Here's one that shocked me, and it makes sense though. Letting your laptop overheat. If you kind of clogged up the ventilation fans and it's sitting, let's say, on a blanket that's on your lap while you're lying in bed, for example, and the fan's not able to circulate air, you may notice it gets hot. Well, it could catch fire and could overheat, so that's a problem.
I would say the lithium on batteries too. You don't want to leave that while plugged into the outlet. You don't want to leave that on a flammable surface either.
This one hopefully is going away, though, using the wrong wattage in a lamp. It used to be we would think, okay, I can put a 60-watt bulb in a 40-watt socket. Not so good, not so smart. But now with LED, it's a lot better, don't you think? We're not having so much of a concern.
Much cooler.
I'm guilty of this one, using too many extension cords because I have too many things plugged into them. So that's not a good thing. Performing DIYs you're not qualified to do. Also guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Disregarding dust, maybe at the bottom of the refrigerator where it overheats, things like that. Storing batteries improperly where the 9 volts can touch each other and spark. And maybe, guys, you may be, and then there's another part of that, throwing away batteries improperly where they could touch each other and spark. Ignoring uninvited guests, which could be things like rascals chewing wires, forgetting to get your chimney swept, overlooking the range hood to make sure the grease is cleaned out, arranging furniture unwisely, which create trip hazards and other problems, leaving candles unattended, that speaks for itself, smoking indoors also speaks for itself, and stepping away from the stove while you've got something cooking on the stove that could all become problems.
There's one other one not covered there, Bob. That we see all the time. It's people who have a natural gas furnace or water heater in their garage who keep their flammable cans, gasoline cans, close by. Don't do that. Make sure those cans are stored well away from any gas appliance.
Just FYI, so you say gasoline cans. What about paint cans? Are they presenting a hazard as well, or not so much?
I don't know that paint cans would be, particularly since most are latex. But if you have paint thinners and other spirits like that, you don't want to keep anything flammable near those.
All right, moving forward, this question coming in from an email from Helen. This is for Brad. Helen's got a basement. Looks as if it leaks. I actually sent you a picture she sent me. Yeah. So it looks like it's leaking on the concrete wall just below. And what's the structure that is right above the?
So it's the stain was just below the sill plate. And Bob, I don't know if that's an active leak. To me, that looks like something that could have I don't know how old the house is. Yeah. But it looks like something that even could have appeared during the construction of the home, and it's just staining on the poured concrete. The way for her to tell that is during a rainstorm, if there's any water that actually comes down, because it didn't look like there was any active leak. It looked like just an old stain. Yep. There are people in the city that have rust stains inside their basement that just the iron oxides have just leached through the concrete, similar to the way the salts will do when you get that efflorescence.
That's and she said it's not leaking currently, and she never saw it leak. So I think you're right on target.
I think that was from the initial construction, just when the basement was exposed to the elements.
Good. All right. Moving on. This one's a good one. I don't know how many of you guys had a chance to pre-read it. And so it comes from Kelly has pulled all the furniture out of her home after getting an offer on her home. The deal fell apart, and now she has furniture marks on the carpet where the furniture was, and she's wondering how to get rid of them. And so Did any of you receive the one sheet that I sent out on it?
Yeah.
You want to go for it, Brad?
Yeah, those are Fernadents, Bob. That's just Fernadents. But no, I think the one of the advice, and I don't know that I would follow along with the advice about putting the ice cubes on it, but I will definitely tell you that anytime you get your carpets cleaned, when those Fernadents will be lifted up and removed, and then depending on the type of carpet, you can almost rake those things out. They talked about maybe scraping them a little bit, but you can rake those and fluff those areas back up. I don't know.
The Berber carpet's the worst. That's the one because the fibers on the other ones you can rake them. You can do some things. I've heard the ice cube trick, not seen it in person, but
I would just be careful about how much water you're actually putting on those, because then you're creating a different kind of problem, particularly if you put your furniture back on and then it leaves a rust spot or a wood stain on it.
But the knowledge on Google says take ice cubes, put it on your carpet, let them melt. Yeah, you can do a Google search and find this yourself, and let it melt, and the dents should disappear. You can rake them up a little bit. All right, so good luck.
I don't understand that.
I don't listen. It's the fibers. We're not carpet people. Whatever. All right. Let's go to this one. Chuck, Samantha is about to close on her home tomorrow, but she found new water leak stain and several others, she says, that were not disclosed in the disclosure. Can she just not go to the closing, say she's not closing? What would you suggest to her from a legal aspect?
Well, if there's new water stains, you want to find out what's going on. That's why you do a walkthrough. Make sure the house is in the same or better condition. Normal wear and tear excluded. That's not normal wear and tear. You go to a closing, you do the deal, you've lost all leverage you have on getting that issue resolved. Now, if you want to take a gamble that you're going to, be able to take care of that yourself, well, close away. But otherwise, with leaks and that sort of thing, why would you risk that? Get somebody out there, tell you what it is, what it's going to cost to repair, and get it taken care of.
All right, final question here. Fred has water leak in the bedroom. He had it repaired. There's no evidence of the leak, he says, left. He says he's about to sell his house, and so this goes for both. We'll start with Brad, then go to Chuck. Does he need to disclose, and if so, why?
Well, I don't know that I would necessarily be able to address that. We'll let Chuck do that. But as far as the way that it's being inspected, we would be looking for any visible evidence of previous, water damage or moisture intrusion. If everything's been cleaned up, windows caulked, whatever the repair was, it was made, fresh coat of paint, we're not picking up any moisture on any of our equipment. For me, it's just they did an effective repair.
But Chuck, should it be disclosed, and why?
Always. Yeah, always. Because, if they do find it and you aren't quite the DIY guru that you think you are, then you could run into some trouble. There's never any harm to saying, at least legally, saying that, hey, there was a leak. I repaired it. This is how I repaired it. Haven't had a problem with it since.
Got it. All right. We're out of time. My thanks to Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team. You can reach Brad and his team at 844-411-TEAM. Also, Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. And my son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. Thank you guys all for being here. And you can reach me anytime on my cell phone at 376-5483. Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.